one of the things I learned is patience, because I was the kind of guy that I wanted to hunt fast. I wanted the Harris to go after the jackrabbit and get it fast, and if it didn't, I got a little disappointed, and then I started to learn that this was not only about hunting. It was about going outdoors. It was about enjoying. It was about watching your bird fly. It was about seeing how your bird was progressing, and how was the team was getting stronger every time, and about a lot of things, and not only go out and hunt.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back for another episode of the Falconry Told podcast, and this episode is the third installment of our first ever international series covering a lot of the great falconers in Mexico. But before we get started, we need to give a shout out to some of the people that help make the podcast possible, being the fine folks at Marshall Radio Telemetry, the makers of the most carefully engineered and reliable tracking systems available. For more information on their products, including the awesome GPS system, just head to marshallradio.com. I'd also like to give a quick shout out to the folks at Pursuit Falconry and Conservation Magazine, who continue to put out great falconry content via their very well done bi-monthly publication. If you haven't had a chance to check out any of their issues yet, I highly recommend you head to pursuitfalconry.co.uk and subscribe now. And of course, a big thank you goes out to NAFA, the North American Falconers Association, and the Falconry Fund for the continuation of their Raptor and Falconry Small Grants program, which stimulates innovative science, outreach, and scholarly activities for the North American falconry community and supports raptor conservation, falconry traditions, and falconers themselves. We hope you continue to support many different projects and activities well into the future. And without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump into our third installment of our first ever international falconry series, covering many of the great falconers in Mexico. And this episode is the last one that takes place in Monterrey before we head to Aguascalientes to cover a couple of the falconers that live there as well. And this episode brings you Eduardo Muñoz. Here we go. Eduardo, this is, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah, I mean, this has been an interesting night because, very rarely do I get the opportunity to do these podcasts with multiple falconers that I've never met before, number one, never even spoken to before, but also let alone be in a completely different country while I'm doing it. So, I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and and your friends taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
To come and sit down and learn more about how this wonderful sport is in your country. So, I mean, what are you from around here also? Or?
Yeah, I'm from Monterrey, and I've been living here all my life.
So yeah, you're kind of like some of these other guys then, and you've seen how things have changed. With the area and a lot of the growth and development and things as well.
Yeah. Hunting spots are difficult to find nowadays. Maybe 10 years ago, you could go almost anywhere and find rabbits, hares, quails, and stuff. But the city is growing very fast. And it gets difficult to find places. You have to drive long distances. If you had to drive about an hour a few years ago, now you have to drive an hour and a half or maybe 2 hours. And there are some difficulties, but if you like it, well, you do it. You get up earlier, and that's no problem.
Yeah, it's human nature to make time and effort and set aside those different expenses and stuff for the things that you like and want to do.
Yeah.
But it's even more convenient to seem to make excuses to not do the things that you don't want to do. It's kind of funny how that works, being a human, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you have a particular profession that makes it easier for you to find the time to do it, or?
Well, basically, I do have a job. I am on industrial sales. Chemicals, basically. And because I do have a job during all the week, from Monday to Friday, and that's been since a long time ago, for me, the easiest bird to fly and the most friendly is the Harris Hawk, because you can work with the bird in your house when you come back after work, and then take it hunting the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you're primarily a weekend hunter as well, then.
That's right.
Yeah. I can imagine that if you have to drive an hour and a half to 2 hours, kind of like what I was just discussing with some of these other guys. It's just I can imagine that if you have like a 9 to 5 or a Monday through Friday type job, that they would be almost impossible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
Well, I mean, in the past, have you found that makes it more challenging to enter new birds for yourself, or to get new birds going? I mean, how long have you? I mean, what are you're flying Harrises right now? I'm assuming.
Not right now. Not right
Okay.
now, because of some personal problems.
Okay.
Things have changed a little.
Mm-hmm.
But I will get into it as soon as I can.
So, but in the past, though, whenever you've started new birds, or has it been harder for you to get one going efficiently with having a more limited hunting schedule or timeline, or how's that worked for you in the past?
No, basically, when I got out of work, I drove as fast as I could to my house, get my stuff, get my bird, and get to work with it. Mm-hmm. When I was starting a bird, that was basically my activity after work. Nothing else. Not exercise. Not for me. Nothing. Just the bird. But that was my activity always after work.
Yeah, I just know, like, for sometimes when people what people run into that are only able to hunt on weekends, sometimes when they're working with like an immature bird, a young bird, sometimes they're the learning curve is just takes longer.
Yeah, I think it depends on the bird. There are birds that are how to say, they learn slower than others. And
I agree with that.
I had birds that I had them hunting very fast, and I had others that it took longer to get them hunting a hare because of I don't know, just they are different personalities. I don't know.
Yeah, some are definitely gamier than others.
Yeah,
I mean there's some birds that are almost too gamey, and there's some birds that just don't seem to have much of an inclination to hunt at all.
And there are some birds also that at first they get scared, like they don't trust too much. And there are other birds that they are like monsters. The first hare they see, they just go after it. And so I think each bird has its personality, and that's why sometimes some birds learn faster than others. Or
well, I mean, how long have you been practicing falconry then?
Well, like since I started until I took a recess, 8 years.
So, like in that time frame, then have you pretty much primarily just flown Harrises, or
only Harrises?
Only Harrises. Gotcha. And I mean, is there any other species that you've thought about, wanting to try, or?
I would like to try sometime red tail, but some people don't like red tails because they say they are stubborn, and I don't know, but I don't know why I would like to try someday with the red tail.
Rodrigo and I were having this conversation the other day. Rodrigo made a good point. It's like you always want, and and it's a very valid point because it's true. You always want the things you can't readily have. Like you always want to try and taste that forbidden fruit, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's just like if you can't really have a certain species or it's not, you always fantasize about what it's like to, fly something or whatever that case is. I mean, you think that might have something to do with it a little bit too, as far as you might want to fly because you can't get them as readily.
Yeah. I mean, the forbidden fruit, yeah. Maybe also because, I don't know, on your experience, have you fly red tail?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know what's your experience with it, but I have always heard that they are difficult or stubborn or aggressive, and I'm like, okay.
It doesn't matter, what species it is. There's always going to be a certain percentage of birds that just aren't good falconry candidates, no matter what you're flying. But, I mean, my experience has been at least being able to man one down and get one tame. For the most part, red tails are pretty, it's pretty standard. I mean, the passage red tails are okay. where people start running into issues sometimes is when they try to imprint them. Okay. And people can run into issues because
it gets harder.
Yeah, because they don't imprint them right, and then they can be pretty aggressive and everything else. But
pretty crazy.
But I mean, you can do that with almost any species as well. But
to be honest, I love to see a peregrine falcon or a goshawk, but Harris hawk is my bird. I mean, to me, it's like a dog, I don't know. Maybe someday I will fly something else, but there will be always a Harris hawk.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's guys that I know that have started with red tails, and I doubt they'll fly anything else ever, just because that's just kind of how their personalities and they like what they like.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, I mean, and I also think it depends on what you're trying to fly, what quarry you're trying to fly at also.
Yeah, I think many falconers try to fly birds that don't belong to their area, or sometimes it's difficult, or the bird gets sick, or it doesn't hunt what you're trying to hunt with it because it's not their natural prey. So, well, it's and well, you want reto in Spanish. I dare you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. It will be difficult, but you want to do it because it's like a dare.
A challenge.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
That's the word. It's a challenge. But I think you will have always success with the birds that belong to your area, or
right. And have quarry to
have quarry that they hunt naturally.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, and I think that you're right. I mean, that's something that is I think often overlooked. There's a lot of everybody, I think, at one time or another is at least tempted to fall into the trap of getting the bird that they like rather than the bird that's suited for what they have available to hunt with.
Right. Rather than the bird they should really fly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you should be picking the bird for the quarry that you have available, not what you think is what you would like the most or cool.
That's right. That's correct.
And there's a lot of people that can get hung up on that, for sure. But about what age then did you discover this, and what got you initially interested in all this?
About what age? 25, 20,
mid-20s,
26, maybe. How I got interested? Well, it's I've been always into outdoors, animals and stuff, and it's a very simple story. I went to the vet to take some of my pets. and I saw a Harris hawk that was in a little kennel. Someone went and told the vet, "I don't want it anymore. Just do whatever you want to with it." And I asked the vet about it. He told me what happened, and I asked him if I could keep it. He said, "Yeah, just take it." And a cousin of mine knew Rodrigo, and he told me, just call Rodrigo so you can get a little knowledge about it. And I called Rodrigo, and that's how I basically got hooked with this, and that was my first Harris. It was a difficult Harris because it was improntado. It's when you take it out of the nest.
Oh, it's imprint.
Yeah. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, and it was a headache all day long.
Yeah.
But it was my first bird. She was a really good hunter, but it was a headache.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've flown one imprint Harris too. I totally understand what you're talking about. Trust
and
me. Yeah.
That's how I got hooked with falconry, and
it's just been took off ever since then, right?
That's right.
Well, that's one of the more unique ways that I've heard. You know, that's one of the things that I enjoy most about doing this is getting to hear people's, I don't know if you want to call them origin stories, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there's not very many, obviously in the U.S. and other countries that have more, regulations in place. Like we wouldn't just be able to take a bird.
There are not many regulations here, so that's how it happened. I know in the U.S. it's very different.
Yeah.
Well, that's how I got into it.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around showing up to a vet with just your normal, dog or cat or whatever, and then coming home with a hawk.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it is.
That's very interesting. Well, wow. Okay. Yeah.
I knew you will react to it.
Yeah. Well, let alone
that's how it was.
But yeah, no, I can't imagine. Yeah, just being able to, like I said, go to a vet and coming home with a hawk you know nothing about, let alone that it's an imprint and the kind of crap that you're going to be dealing with.
And then the surprise. Shut up.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, you obviously you ended up keeping this bird, right? Like, did you end up trying to find a new home for it as well, or
no? I kept it.
Well,
I definitely kept it.
How many seasons did you end up flying it?
Like 4 seasons.
Gotcha. Did something end up happening to it, or did you?
Yeah, she died. She got sick and she died.
Gotcha. So it was a female then?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you prefer to fly Harris's solo or in a cast, or?
I have always flied solo.
Okay. So you haven't done
that? Not always. I mean, sometimes we go.
Yeah, you hunt with other people's Harrises in a cast
and stuff,
but you've not ever owned more than one. At a time.
I've never owned more than one.
Well, I mean, once you contacted and got a hold of Rodrigo, and you started actually learning the ropes, then how long did it take you to realize just how much of a mistake you initially made? Then I'm just curious.
Well, I think that the excitement didn't let me to realize the mistake I had made until maybe the second season, because the first season I was really, really, really excited, and then it started to get annoying.
Mm-hmm.
And but I always try to be patient, and I said, well, I really like this. That's the bird I had. I chose it. It's not like you cannot say, oh, I don't want it anymore.
Right.
It's not about that. I chose it, and that's it. That's what I have, and I better enjoy and be patient, and that's it.
So whenever you brought this bird home then, I mean, did you just end up perching it in your living room or like in your house or?
Well, at first, it was always with me while I was watching TV, while I was eating, whatever I was doing at home. And then she was in the garden. Once she was trained, she was in the garden most of the time, and sometimes I took her into the house and stuff, but most of the time she was outside.
So then you started getting out and, mainly hunting on the weekends and stuff. I mean, did you have the same career, the same job at that time whenever you first?
No, I didn't.
You had a different schedule at that point then?
Well, I had the same schedule. I always...
so yours Monday through Friday?
Monday to Friday.
Yeah, typical.
And that's it. And sometimes, in some jobs, until Saturday noon. And I was flying on Sundays, and now, and since a few years ago, Monday to Friday, and it changes, but you adapt to it.
It sounds like then there wasn't really one particular thing that stood out then. I mean, you just saw this bird and just came home with it. And,
yeah, I fall in love with it, and I said, I need to have that bird.
So before then, you said you hadn't had any research, no knowledge of falconry at all.
Nothing at all.
Wow, man.
Nothing at all.
That's that's still.
Of course, once I contacted Rodrigo, and what have you read about it? And what have nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, you started with the wrong food. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say at least
Will you help me or not?
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least he did though. You
Yeah.
know? Well, I mean,
Yeah, he did, and I'm very grateful for it.
Yeah. So, like, pretty much immediately after then, did you meet up with him and start getting out and hunting and stuff with him just to kind of see and start learning more? Like, I mean, did you start doing that pretty quickly after you called him then? Or
Yeah, he said, okay, come see me on next Friday. I don't know, a few days after I got the bird. At first, he also contacted me with Medel, and I got very close to Medel also. Most to Medel than to Rodrigo at the beginning. They were the two people that really taught me.
yeah, mentored you.
Yeah, that mentored me.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's good that you found the. I mean, can you imagine how different things might have been if you didn't know somebody that knew Rodrigo and had that,
Yeah, I wouldn't be into this.
Well, and yeah, I mean, I didn't, whenever I first found out about this stuff too, I was I think I was like 29 or 30.
Yeah.
And I didn't even realize that it was even with all the internet and social media and stuff. I mean, aside from seeing a couple movies, I didn't realize that this was a thing either. So, but yeah, no, that's just so random. That's nuts. I don't know. I'm gonna have to mentally move on, or else I'm gonna get stuck on that the rest of this conversation.
Okay.
Just trying to, trying to wrap my head around just the circumstances with all that. But have you tried any other quarry though, aside from rabbits and jackrabbits, or?
No, basically jackrabbits and also I had a tekel, a dachshund.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And he was my hunting partner. He died at 11 years old, and it took me a long time to get him into hunting because he was not like from
he wasn't from hunting lines.
Hunting lines,
Gotcha.
Yeah. But he did, and it was pretty fun.
Well, with I mean, did you have any issues with the terrain and him, doing long distance hunting and?
Well, where I used to hunt, the terrain was a little bit difficult in some places because there are big rocks, so they have very short legs.
Right.
And not in all the terrain, but in some places. And yeah, he used to get tired and stuff, but he also he loved it. He loved it. While he had energy, he was into it with no problem.
Did you ever have to give him breaks, pick him up and carry him?
Yeah, and give him water and sit around maybe 10 minutes and then keep going. And, yeah.
Did you carry around a little bag to carry him in or anything?
In the hunting bag.
Yeah,
in my
just
back.
Put him in and just kind of carry him around there for a bit.
Yeah,
that's cool. I just got a dachshund not too long ago myself.
Oh, you also had dachshunds?
Yeah. I we just picked one up a month or two ago now, I guess, and I'm looking forward to getting him out more as well. But
okay,
the one I got came from more hunting lines though.
They are a little bit stubborn sometimes. Yeah.
They can be. That's something that I've noticed. He's already starting to get a little headstrong.
Yeah.
I can tell. He's just now like a little over 5 months old.
Is he a wire hair or smooth hair?
Long hair.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Long hair. Normally I dread the puppy experience. I'm not a big, I like I said, the whole crate training aspect and the, the potty training stuff. But luckily we got him from a breeder that had already been working with him on the potty training and crate training and stuff. So getting him
that helps a lot.
Yes, and getting him a little bit older too. Like he was about 13 weeks when we got him, and having that extra month, with mom and stuff too, I think really made a difference. Also, but how old was your dachshund whenever you got yours?
When I got mine like 6 months old.
Really, that old?
Yeah, 6 months old.
Huh. Interesting. And did you notice a difference in that maybe in adding to stubbornness issue or anything? Or?
No, he started to get stubborn like about a year and a half old.
Did you never had an issue with your Harris?
No,
with
never.
A smaller dog or anything?
Never. I tried to. Well, once I got Jack Russell Terrier, and it was a female, and for some reason my Harris was very aggressive with her, so I decided not to include her on the team.
Yeah, it happens.
But never with the dachshund. Where we were in hunting, most of the time where the dog was really into hunting, the bird followed more the dog than she followed me.
I've had Harrises before that were, very dog aggressive. There's been plenty of other friends that I've had though that have been able to work past that with their Harrises in particular. But there's some Harrises that, just for whatever reason just don't like dogs, period, and they just won't hunt with them.
Yeah, it's what I was saying a while ago. It's just different personalities.
Sure. I find it interesting that one smaller breed didn't appeal versus the other. It didn't like the one, smaller type of small breed versus the other. Because normally, that I've had a couple Harrises too that were fine with larger dogs or medium-sized dogs, but then they would just try and they would just hit, the smaller breeds too. So
yeah, at first I was worried that she would hurt the dog, but it never happened. Never happened. She might get a little nervous at the beginning, but she never attacked. Never.
What aspect of learning, since when you first began to what you know now, do you think has been one of the most important things that you've learned, especially, as pertaining to how falconry is in Mexico?
Okay, what aspect? Well, you learn a lot of things on the road. One of the things I learned the most, and that's in a personal matter, it's patience. Because I was the kind of guy that I wanted to hunt fast. I wanted the Harris to go after the jackrabbit and get it fast. And if it didn't, I got a little disappointed. And then I started to learn, also because of Rodrigo and Medel, that this was not only about hunting. It was about going outdoors. It was about enjoying. It was about watching your bird fly. It was about seeing how your bird was progressing, how was the team was getting stronger every time, and about a lot of things, and not only go out and hunt. You maybe you went hunt and someday and you didn't catch anything, but the bird made a really good effort. She had a very good flights, and I don't know. It was patient and enjoying. Maybe it's not the answer you were expecting.
No. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's exactly what I was looking for, because it's something that I ask occasionally, especially for the guys that haven't been necessarily in the sport just a super long time. Also, it's sometimes a little different perspective than some of these guys that have been in it for decades.
Yeah.
And I agree, because it sounds like we've been kind of, like I said, roughly practicing about the same amount of time. And I do agree with that, because there's a lot of days that I have to remind myself that if you come home with no game, but you come home, your bird's in good condition, and put in some good flights and stuff, and
so it didn't get hurt, and
it's that kind of almost cliche falconry like expression, like any day you come home with your bird in the box is a good day. And I think that gets taken for granted sometimes. So no, that's a good perspective. That's exactly what I was wanting to, like I said, everybody's got different points of views, and how they, perceive things. So, but as far as some of the hunts that you've had in the time that you've been, flying birds, what are some of your, what's been one of your favorite experiences that you had out in the field?
I was about to end up the day. It was a difficult morning. The bird was tired. I was tired. The dog was tired. It was getting hot. So I decided to go back to the truck. And then while I was going back to the truck, a hare just started running. It was a long hare, or jackrabbit. And the Harris took after it. And I said, no, she will never get it. It's too far away. She's tired. It started to get windy. And she just went after it. And I said, damn, now I will have to walk about 300, 400 meters to retrieve it. Yeah. And when I got there, the Harris hawk was on the floor. There was no jackrabbit, but she had hair on her
pulled fur,
on her claws, and blood. And David, that was my dog, David in Spanish. I cannot tell you why that name, because it's a little, but anyway. He started sniffing around, and I took up the bird, and the dog just went after a trail, and I went after the dog, and about maybe 50 or 60 meters where the bird was standing. The dog found the hair with a blood trail, and it's still alive, but almost dead. It didn't run. And that was a very good experience for me because the dog had not much experience yet hunting. I had a few months trying to get him in blood trails. And after not a very good morning, well, it was a very, very a good ending for me that day. So that's one of the best experiences I've had on a hunting day.
That's neat. There's a joke that we kind of have in our group back home, and there's one guy in particular that's kind of noted for whatever reason, always kicking up a rabbit, on the way back to the truck. Like for whatever reason, the one just randomly jump up, from out of nowhere, and he usually ends up getting it. And no, that's nice though that ended that way. As far as especially whenever you have a dog, that's still learning the ropes, and I'm sure that was really rewarding.
I ended up that day with a really big smile.
I'm sure. Well, how many hours had you been you think you'd been hunting?
That day, maybe 4 hours. My feet were really hurting, and I just gave up that day.
Yeah, well, sometimes it shows you, just persistence
and a little luck.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and that's pretty much all this all this stuff is half the time anyway. Well, is there any other memories that come to mind?
Well, another one. We were flying on a group, and I was way behind. I don't know what happened, and the rest just kept walking. And I was trying to get to them.
Trying to catch up?
Trying to catch up, yeah. And a jackrabbit started to run. And the Harris started the pursuit. And I was maybe like, 80 meters behind. And my bird saw all the pursuit, and she took off also. And I said, well, she's in disadvantage, but it's okay. But the other 3 or 4 birds didn't catch the hare, and my bird just started flying higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. And she made a lot of less effort than the other birds. And while the other birds were trying to get it, they gave up, and this one just came from, like, maybe, 40 meters higher, and just, how you say it when...
Stooped?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And catch the bird. And I say, okay, well, we were really behind, and she made it. But what I like about that is that I don't know if it was the bird experience or what, but instead of going straight, she went up while the other birds were going lower and straight, and then she just what's the word?
Stooped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen other Harrises learn how to do that too. They learned that the altitude gives them a little bit more advantage. Plus, I think that the rabbit thinks that they've lost the bird or something. And also, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking, but yeah.
And there are I don't know. There are a lot of night experiences and flights. And there was a rabbit once. A jackrabbit. Then you know what a matador is?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Matador. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I call it the Matador because she was just standing and the Harris just
Just waiting for it to come in.
yeah, she was waiting to come the Harris and she just jumped like 30 centimeters away and the Harris just crashed with the floor.
Yep.
And then it took off again and another time and just a little jump and she was just standing like with her ears high, like I don't know.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah, then
I've seen that. I've seen that move.
Is that all you got? Okay,
Yeah.
do it again, like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
Until she just gave up and she just stayed on the floor and the jackrabbit just started walking and showing off and she left.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those little like, purposeful, wait till the last minute jukes are always fun to watch. The other ones I think are fun to watch are the ones where they do the flips over the bird, or they hurdle the bird.
Yeah.
And jump over them and stuff. Those are always fun to watch too.
It's fun to watch, but sometimes the Harris takes the worst part. So
Right.
when that happens, the jackrabbit kicks and jumps and
Yep.
and most of the time when they are rookies or
Immature. Yeah.
immature, when they are mature, they just go right to the head, and doesn't happen most of the time. But yeah, it's when they are immature, I think is more fun to watch a Harris hawk go after a jackrabbit because the fight will be harder. They are way more aggressive. When they are mature, they are more intelligent. If they see, it's too long, I don't know. I will wait for another one that
They get
goes
pickier.
out.
Yeah.
They're more picky.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I agree. I mean, immature birds, they don't know any better, so they're, I think that's the best time to also enter them on a game that they might turn down whenever they're older and never hunted before either. But, so I think I appreciate you, taking the time to, tell some stories and share your experiences and,
no, thank you.
And come and hang out as well. But, do you have any last, like a last thought or any last advice for anyone else that, is not familiar with?
Well, yeah, that if you want to be a falconer, you need to know that a bird is not like a toy. It's a really big compromise with the bird. You need to have a lot of care with it, a lot of patience. It's an investment of time, and you need to really like it. I mean, it's not like I want to have a bird, but I won't go out hunting this Saturday because I have a party, or no. You have to be there. You have to. It's a really big compromise. If you don't want to compromise, just don't do it.
It's good to, hear pretty much that be a standard sentiment, no matter if it's, coming from a falconer in the U.S. or Mexico or wherever. I mean, it's pretty standard, if you don't have the time or the dedication.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's cold or if you have to get up at 4 a.m. because you have to drive 2 hours. That's how it is. And if you don't want to do it, just don't have a bird.
Yeah, I agree. Well, like I said, thank you again. And I think that's a good note to end on. And I'm starting to smell food.
Yeah,
so.
It's time to go.
So, like I said,
time to go to the barbecue.
Yeah. That's definitely getting a little hungry out for sure. But thank you again. It's nice meeting you. And
nice to meeting you too. And thank you for considering me.
Yeah.
For this interview.
No, that's great.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, I hope it wasn't too painful for you. I mean,
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was fun and interesting also.
Good. All right. Well, like I said, I appreciate it, and yeah, let's go eat.
Yeah, thank you.